Anyway, I hope during assessment time you know what to answer. Now we go to another types of model, which is neural network. Right. So earlier algorithms here we were discussing, those are machine learning, right, under AI. Right. Now we're talking about neural network, is also under AI and is a special category of machine learning. So a neural network is also machine learning. So artificial neural network, the idea comes of mimicking the brain cell, where you have the cell of the brain, and then you have what you have, the axon, and you have dendrites. So dendrites are what? Are the input channels to the cell. These are for input. So the signal comes maybe from other cells, from brain cells. And then it's going to do some here chemical reaction, let's say, some calculation, some process, and then it's going to give you the output, which is the signal is going to be transferred through the axon. And this axon eventually is going to be linked to the terminals which associated with another neuron. So maybe here you have another dendrites as input for another neuron. Okay, so this is output for this neuron, input for this one. Then this one is going to have also output, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're talking about one cell here inside the body. So people have come to mimic the brain structure. So they say instead of cell body, we have processing unit. You can call this processing unit. It has some functionality. Do it simply. Just do the summation. Now we talk about it. And then you have the dendrites here are just the input. So let's say if you have here the input data coming from your data set, maybe this is X1, X2, X3, if we have single neuron. Okay, then what does it do? It just simply do summation. Summation of what? The input multiplied by the weights, because each input has some weight. W1, W2, W3. So it's going to take the summation of multiplying the input to their associated weights. So X1 multiplied by W1 plus X2, W2 plus X3. Or actually, if you like to write it like regression, instead of theta, so this is W1. So probably you say W1, X1, W2, X2, W3, X3. So this is going to give you the summation. Then you apply some function. We call it activation function. This is called activation function. Can be classification, activation function, which can help you take the summation, this one, and classify whether, let's say, the person is male or female, whatever. So eventually, neural network is just simply mimicking our brain structure. Not exactly, but just maybe in the simple way. Okay, of course, your brain is more complicated than neural network. Okay. By the way, also neural network can be used for classification, can be used for regression, both. So if you have classification case, or can use. So for your assignment, if you like to use neural network, possible, depends. Actually, many algorithms can work for both cases. Okay, so this is just again explain what now I said. You take the input, multiply by the weights, and then you calculate the summation plus bias. Bias is simply like in regression where you have theta 0, right? The intercept. This is theta 0, like the case of regression earlier, the intercept. So here we call it bias, which is input where the value always is 1, and you're looking for W0 or theta 0. So you're interested in W0, and then you assign the function. This is the activation function, which is going to help you to produce the output. The activation function can be logistic mapping function. Then in this case, it's going to give you a value between 0 and 1. Can have other types as well. Okay, so if you are working on classification, probably your activation can be logistic, because logistic can help you to produce probability, right? Can give you probability. Proba, just like going to type proba, means probability between 0 and 1. So it depends what you are trying to predict. If you say I'm trying to predict whether the person is female, or male, then if probability is greater than 0.5, assuming this is your threshold, then the person is female. If lower than 0.5, then the person is male.